Item number: YOS-4411. Object class: Keter. Threat level: Danger. Containment procedures: Updated containment procedures. YOS-4411 is to be kept in a sealed steel container no less than 3 meters by 3 meters by 3 meters by 3 meters, and no less thick than 3 meters. Air conditioning must be outside the container to blow away any flatulence gas. If YOS-4411 is successful at breaching containment, or by using Dimension/4411, staff is to immediately track down YOS-4411 by any means necessary. If unsuccessful at capturing YOS-4411, MTF guards will track down YOS-4411's location anywhere on land. If YOS-4411 is found, must be in an indestructible steel container immediately. Any YOS-4411-1 instances that are present are to be terminated immediately. Previous containment procedures: YOS-4411 must be kept in a 12-meter by 12-meter humanoid containment cell. Personnel are permitted to clean up the cell by removing fecal matter inside if gained permission to do so. About 8 air conditioners are to be used to blow away the methane from YOS-4411. If a containment breach is caused by YOS-4411, he must be found and contained immediately. If he attempts to do a fecal attack, nearby staff must be warned. If a YOS-4411-1 instance is present, it must be terminated immediately. Description: YOS-4411 is a young Caucasian male, presumably age 6. He is portrayed as being a troublemaker who shows no remorse for anyone he attacks. He shows absolutely no body hair, instead it illuminates a shiny structure on his body. He seems to have a strange irritation of hating clothing, and attempts to take them off immediately. He is capable of releasing flatulence for long periods of time, and also can cause large amounts of defecation to release out of his anal cavity. The flatulence is so toxic when released, which is 10 times more toxic than humans, that it is able to kill a subject closer than 3 meters. The defecation of YOS-4411 results in the feces being solidified or liquefied. The feces have the same toxicity as the gas. If subjects are closer to them, they will die. YOS-4411's feces can be useful to him on some occasions. He can use it to escape containment by forming them into tools, but his most preferred escape is using the air duct. YOS-4411 has the ability to reproduce instances of YOS-4411-1. YOS-4411-1 instances are offsprings of YOS-4411. They are species of feces that measure 3.5 meters in height and 1.5 meters wide. They are sentient and have internal organs made out of their structure, and also have a bladder to release the toxic flatulence gas. They are extremely hostile, and even though they are lacking a skeleton, they can form strong bones inside each part of the body to injure multiple subjects, and will devour them when subjects come into physical contact with them. Dimension/4411. YOS-4411 can also escape into his pocket dimension, known as Dimension/4411, and is also revealed to be an alternate reality that is outside this reality. Staff members are prohibited to enter the dimension, as they use D-class personnel to enter it. The dimension shows a darkened building. With the exception of the adding of lights, it triggers echoes that can be heard from 4 miles. Tracking down the echoes of YOS-4411 is almost impossible, as he has good eyesight despite the darkness, and the staff often warn D-class personnel to avoid him or escape the dimension. Many of them were terminated by YOS-4411 due to not being able to see him, and not paying attention to the distant echoes of his stomach growls, flatulence, and speech. This D-class testing is discontinued at October 14, 2000. As mobile task force members enter to find and recontain YOS-4411. If unsuccessful at finding YOS-4411, he can exit the dimension to transport somewhere on the planet, which can be 100 miles away from Site 07. YOS-4411 is currently being forced to wear his original clothing continuously, but he will still refuse to wear them. Addendum 4411-1. YOS-4411 was discovered in a two-story house from Montana at Drive on April 12, 2020. The foundation was called by a child who claims that his parents are being very aggressive towards him and his other brothers, except for one sister. He claims them to be an aggressive entity that is not his parents at all, so MTF guards are on their way to capture or terminate them. The child gave them his home address and they immediately went out to stop them. The MTF guards are outside the window seeing the parents of the child giving the three brothers their brutal punishments. His dad was holding a knife as if attempting to kill them. Before he could have a chance of doing this, he was startled, along with the others, by one MTF member barging into the house and immediately terminated the punishers. Three children showed signs of blunt force and trauma, along with a few bruises and scratches, and shown signs of bleeding. They lacked clothing also. They were eventually sent to Site 06 for protection and examination, while the deceased members were sent to a ditch near Drive. However, two members, later designated YOS-4411 and YOS-4589, apparently refused to be sent and attempted to attack, but were quickly subdued and were forcefully sent to the site. Addendum 4411-2. During the event of YOS-414 breaching containment, while one of the security personnel was watching the cameras, he saw YOS-4411 out of his cell, and attempted to attack the anomaly, but failed and was immediately devoured into YOS-414. After Site 06 was completely destroyed, many YOSs survived the incident, and was recontained by all staff. Researchers found half of the anomalies survived, while others were killed by YOS-414. It has been reported that YOS-4411 can resist other anomalies' effects. Subject is also indestructible, meaning that it cannot be stunned or killed in any way. He is immune to hot or cold temperatures, examples: deserts and tundras, therefore he ignores any temperature changes he's exposed to, even without clothing. He is also infested with various viruses, which the subject doesn't respond to, meaning he also prevents the viruses from dealing any harm. Terminating YOS-4411 is not possible at this time. In his anal cavity with close-up microscopic tools, he is infested with instances of YOS-4423, which is passive towards the anomaly, due to him continuing to release flatulence gases, which is their meal, and never attempting to demand for more. Instances of YOS-4423 will often kill off viruses infesting YOS-4411 if disturbed. Addendum 4411-3. On August 21, 2020, YOS-4411 was tested to try to terminate YOS-682 for termination attempt /682-12. Test began on 2:15 p.m. YOS-4411's chamber was lowered to YOS-682's cell, and when it opened up, the subject was released out of his enclosure and immediately gained contact with YOS-682. YOS-682 immediately sprinted towards YOS-4411, but the subject jumped on its back and started attacking it from behind. YOS-682, realizing that the child is on it, it started spinning around several times to make YOS-4411 fall off. It was successful and it devours him completely. It doesn't realize that YOS-4411 is still alive, so he attacks him inside its stomach. YOS-682 became sick and disgusted, and he vomited fecal matter and acid, including YOS-4411. After being released, the child leaps onto YOS-682's mouth, and reproduces a YOS-4411-1 instance. As it felt threatened by YOS-682's mouth, it became aggressive as it formed strong bones inside to immediately break the jaw of YOS-682. YOS-682 roars in pain. At this point it will no longer attempt to harm YOS-4411 by any chance, as the child has a chance to attack it once again, leading to YOS-682 being knocked unconscious. End test. Results. After the test, YOS-682 lost about 60% of its body mass, but still managed to resist the attacks and wasn't terminated in the process. The test was a failure. Addendum 4411-4. YOS-4411 has breached containment on May 27, 2021. Agent was sent to capture YOS-4411 without incident. Begin log.
Alright, I'm in. Alright, try to detect 4411 if he's close by. I'll try my best.
Agent traveled at least 5 miles in 2 minutes. At this point the echoes from YOS-4411 are heard.
Hold on, I'm hearing something.
I think I heard someone. I'm going to give them a piece of my mind.
I think I heard 4411. Try to locate him as soon as you can.
At this point YOS-4411 was near and he attacked Agent, without him knowing.
Well, it seems that we need to find 4411 now.
End log. Incident 4411-1. YOS-4411 was being tested on by what makes his body so infected. Researchers collected a piece of YOS-4411's DNA, a piece of fecal material. When YOS-4411 is not being observed, he randomly escapes his chamber without the staff even knowing. In surveillance video footage, YOS-4411 escapes inside Dimension/4411, and closes it to possibly prevent MTF members from tracking him down, so researchers sent MTF Unit 16 to track down YOS-4411. After a 100-mile run, Unit 16 took notice of a village covered in a liquefied fecal matter. They went to go investigate the village, and they found all civilians dead during the event. YOS-4411 doesn't seem to be around the village, and is thought to have escaped from the village to run off somewhere else. After a 50-mile run, another village was attacked and civilians were killed. This time, YOS-4411 was found in the village, and was immediately chased by Unit 16. He was eventually captured and was forcibly shoved into a container. However, the kid was resisting the capture and was eventually able to break out of the unit's strength, and killed all members. He was then tracked down by MTF Unit 23, and was 1,280 miles away from Site 07. The unit was eventually able to find YOS-4411 and was strong enough to subdue him and put him into an indestructible container, and was then sent back to the facility. In July 10, 2021, after recontainment of YOS-4411, Dr. Stronghold took notice over the breach and assumes that the nature of the child is very dangerous and can easily escape if he wants to, and he wants the staff to terminate YOS-4411 immediately. This was denied due to his body simply being indestructible, and cannot be killed in any way. Whenever YOS-4411 is growing weaker in a couple of years, there may be a chance that it will be possible to terminate YOS-4411. As a result, containment procedures have been updated.